So, recently, what I've been doing to kind of just like relax at night is I've just been playing.
Jerk it?
Yeah.
Playing Jerk It?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bop it. Twist it. Flick it. Jerk it.
Spit it.
Whack it.
I like to sit on my hand until it goes numb. And then play the game.
I like to pretend that someone else is playing the game.
Like a stranger. See, I close my eyes too.
It's really nice. Like, it's really like edgy and kinky, you know? I mean, really, like, I'm just playing Battlefront 2 and I don't know why I have to make it sexual, but...
I can feel my arm going, but not the hand.
I was just going to talk about just how, like, I've been really liking Battlefront 2 and just talk about, like, how chaotic it is on there, but now I don't even know if I can really go into that.
I mean, Jerk It can be chaotic.
I don't...
You gotta get creative.
I don't know if it really should, though.
I don't know. Sometimes you want to spice that. You know how people say you gotta spice things up in the relationship with your significant other? Sometimes you gotta do that with your left hand.
Yeah! We'll go with that.
What? I mean, if you do it the same way every time, you don't like, reverse, pepper grinder.
I think I'm starting to see why people don't want us to sponsor them.
Ketchup bottle. That's from Ralphie May.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, fair enough. Oh, Ralphie May.
I know. R.I.P.
Welcome back to the punkrockhorrorpodcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we're here to remind you to do your taxes, get them filed, get it taken care of, and get that refund sooner than later so you can get one of these amazing shirts right here.
That one.
Yeah.
That one. I had a look because I wanted to.
Ooh. still have a few in stock.
Yes,
so,
we do. We had a new sale today, which I'm super stoked about.
Yeah. Money.
Selling those
kind
shirts. Get your merch.
It's not really money. I mean, it's money, but it's not really money. We all know
it goes into the podcast, you know.
You can see this backdrop. We're definitely not rolling in the dough.
I mean, dough, yes, but not money dough.
Yeah, like Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
Dodo.
Dodo. Dodo.
Dodo.
And this is why they hate us.
Dough. Yeah, girl. Dough. Girl, dough.
Dude, boy bands have already gotten back together. It's all about the emo bands now.
That's what we're... that we got to get a harmonizing our emo boy band, and we got to like harmonize all the popular emo songs. Like, I can't make it on my own, he can't make it on his own. Cause my heart is, where's his heart? It's in Ohio.
You know what? Now I want to see NSYNC cover like all of MCR and Yellow Card and everything. Just to see, like, Black Parade, all, like, boy band out. Oh, my God, that'd be so funny.
Oh, wait. You would have, like, half the amount of people, like, have an aneurysm for, like, a boy band covering emo song. And then you'd have the other half be like, you know what, I kind of like it.
Like, well, like, and the funny thing is, like, I hear so many, like, emo and punk and, like, pop-punk bands covering old boy band songs on, like, the Pop Goes Punk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I want to see the opposite now. I want to see a boy band cover emo songs.
We could totally do it. I'm saying, I'm down for that.
To see Justin Timberlake singing, "Cut my life into pieces."
I more so want to see a smooth jazz, or at least William Shatner come back for one more album. And hit single be Bring Me to Life from Evanescence. Wake me up. Wake me up inside. I cannot wake up. Save me from myself.
That would be fantastic. Oh my God, did he have Morgan Freeman, like, doing backup vocals for him? Wake me up inside.
Wake me up.
I can't do Morgan Freeman.
You either get lemon or you get waking up inside.
Yeah.
You either get waking up inside or you get dying. That's It's my best Morgan Freeman as well.
And at the end of the album, you just have Palpatine come out and go, I am emo.
I am waking up inside.
I am the emo.
I am the evanescence.
I am the evanescence.
I am the evanescence.
Oh, so that's where you get that smell, huh, Palpatine?
Wake yourself up inside and complete your transformation to the dark side. Execute your master. The Jedi are weak.
Execute order NCR.
And it's like the music video of like Helena. Except instead of Helena, it's him that comes out of the casket and starts doing all the ballerina moves. Long ago, like a burning.
Shoots lightning out of every pirouette.
Bow, big, boom, bow.
So long and good night. Ultimate power.
Power.
I want to see that now. Fuck MCR, I want to see all Palpatine. Like, just doing everything.
Next live show, we really need to commit to this show. And we're like, one of us needs to come out in a Palpatine costume. And who would be a good one to go with it, though?
With Palpatine?
Like, we can't come out as two Palpatines.
No.
That'd be weird. That would get annoying fast. So what did you think of this movie,
Oh,
Cody?
yeah, see, that we have to have someone come out as William Shatner in his Star Trek costume.
Oh, okay.
Like, dressed as a Trekkie, just to see how many people would just have an aneurysm with this. Makes no sense! Because not only do you have the good captain on one side, and you have the Sith Lord. And then all you have to do is like, Star Wars, Star Trek, say diff.
Now you're going to the voice for the decrepit old grandma from SpongeBob.
Chocolate. I don't remember. I remember when they first made chocolate. I hated it. Chocolates. You're just waiting for me to die, aren't you?
So I say to Lauren every time in the morning she tries to wake me up. Alright, I'm gonna go to work. You just waiting for me to die, aren't you? That's why you won't let me sleep.
You hate me. Why do you hate me so much? Just start crying.
Talking about things we love and hate, though, we should probably actually jump into the content of today's episode. So, this next segment is called Something You Love and Something You Hate. If you're new to the show, this whole segment is literally about talking about something we love and hate that's happened in the world around us in the past day, week, or month. So
we should add some music to that. So
thank you. I feel like you went first last time, so I think, or I mean, you went second last time, so I think you should go first this time.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Go first?
Definitely.
Me?
Do it.
Okay, I totally forgot about the thing that I love.
Do you want me to go first instead?
Jesus Christ. No, because the thing that I hate, so, the thing I hate is, so, for those of you who don't know, when we started recording this episode today, it's the same day that the My Chemical Romance tickets in Denver, Colorado came out. Yeah, and so I've only heard of one person that I know of. Okay, two. Two, because one of them's special and she knows people, so she can get tickets. Adrian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still don't know. Oh, wait, no, sorry, I thought it was a different one.
Yeah, she got the hookups for tickets, so... And then my friend Colleen, she got tickets and was only able to get 3. And then just going over Facebook, seeing how many people were in the queue for hours beforehand.
Yeah.
Or just like crazy, like just were in the queue way beforehand, and then we're still at a 40-minute wait, and then would have the chance to buy the tickets, and the second they were about to purchase their tickets, it would say tickets sold out.
Yeah.
And then to hear that Ticketmaster has done this before, but they sell mass amounts of tickets to scalpers and scalping companies before they're even on sale to the general public. Yeah. Not like private people or the private tickets, like, you know, the ones
not like StubHub.
Yeah, anything like that. But no, they sell them to actual, like, to scalpers, like hundreds of these tickets. They basically like, grain of salt, because that one article I saw, and like, I don't know if it's a, you know.
Don't know how legitimate it is.
Yeah, but like one claiming that, you know, they sold more than half their tickets before they even went on sale to the general public. Not just the MCR concert. This is before. They've done it before to other concerts, and it's like, fuck you. Like, fuck off. First off, like, it's anybody that like is a huge fan of MCR can shell out like 300-400 tickets for terrible seats. Like, good for you, but fuck, goddamn, like the fact that, you know, the ticket sales now are selling like 3, 4, 5 times the price of they were originally is just disgusting, especially because Ticketmaster did it on purpose. Like, you know, or other companies do these things on purpose. And it's not just Ticketmaster. I just know that's one site that did it. But it's not just MCR or other concerts. It's all kinds of things like conventions and sport, like going to the Broncos and stuff like that. It's just gross that we can't even enjoy these things that we would like to go and enjoy and actually can't afford the original price just because people are fucking gross and disgusting and want so much money. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to ruin your childhood by buying the one chance you might get to see this, chance to go see this band and make you pay out the asshole for these terrible seats where you're going to have the tall dude in front of you and you have to watch the whole fucking concert on the third fucking row from his fucking cell phone in front of you.
Isn't capitalism great?
Yeah, fucking awesome. So it's like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I heard that they were coming back, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to buy a ticket.
I mean, I'm curious,
I knew it was gonna be stupidly like expensive. I didn't expect it to go this route where like they're shelling out like some tickets are like $1,000 a piece. Like I wasn't.
And they're not even good seats.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that.
That's the gross part.
But I knew, like once I saw, like, here in Colorado that they were going to be in the Pepsi Center, I was like, oh, shit, that's going to be expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's Metallica priced seats right there.
And, don't get me wrong, I love MCR. They are definitely one of the biggest bands of art, high school age and everything, but hell fucking no, I'm not paying $1,000. I wouldn't even pay $1,000 to go see Rammstein. And I love Rammstein, and and it's just because they're coming. They're rarely ever here. It's not that they got back together.
I would say they're kind of like the queen of our generation, in the sense like that they.
Yeah, especially for scene kids, emo kids.
That's why I said it's a lazy comparison, but
it is
just to kind of give some sort of insight to it.
Well, yeah, but also even though MCR has been gone for so long, it's just also they're one of the bands that everyone knows who My Chemical Romance is. Yeah, you know, it's that kind of notoriety. I can see the queen of the emo. It's
probably one of the best examples of the fans making the band.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially because of how much just support Gerard Way had even after all the crap and stuff like that. But just each individual band member too it's just really cool. So and that's why I like NCR. So. See, that's just the thing that.
Or you can see them for free, Cody.
Oh yeah, on YouTube.
By making the playlist that they're playing on tour, putting in your ears and using your imagination, and then slowly crying as you realize it'll never be the same.
just put a poster on a wall and just be listening to it. Yeah. These tears are both joy and sadness.
Come on, man! They're about to start playing Kalena. You're staring at a poster. No, I'm not. It's real.
It's real. It's real. It's real to me. Just let me have it. Right here. Please let me have this. Please.
And then you have a makeshift pillow body of Gerard Way.
What do they call it? Get the fucking waifu pillows.
Yeah.
What a Gerard.
What a Gerard Way one.
That's gross. I think that's the point where Deb would be like, I'm leaving you. That's where she'd be like,
that's fine, I have Gerard.
I got my pillow.
Alright, what is the thing you love?
The thing I love this week... Actually, the thing I love... I had a couple other things, but...
just pick one.
I know, it's what I'm looking forward to, actually. It's Sunday for the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm really excited because I'm going to go spend it with my dad. And I don't get to see my dad that much. Most people know, of our friends and stuff, I only really get to see my dad, once a year for Thanksgiving. And we keep trying to, not let that happen. But it's just, everyone knows life comes up and stuff like that. And just being so far apart, it's hard. So I'm really excited to see my dad tomorrow.
I'm excited for you.
For the Super Bowl. So, see my dad and my cousins. So I'm going to hang out with Anna and her whole family and everything. So, yeah, Anna. But so I'm really excited about that. So that's the thing I love. What about you?
So I will do what I hate and love. So what I hate is. So I had to really think this over to make sure I worded this correctly, but I'm pretty confident now. So I kind of hate everything that's been happening around with Kobe Bryant and his daughter's passing. Mm-hmm. Now, first, let me get out of the way. It is an absolute tragedy. What happened to not just them, but everyone on the helicopter. It was very sad and very tragic, and that is an absolute truth. It wasn't just about Kobe and his daughter. All of them died in a very, very tragic manner, and it's very sad.
Can I interrupt before you get on your tangent?
Yeah, sure. What's
so
up?
It's something that I like about the fact that you brought up the other families too. Because me and Ricky have been talking about it, and you know how Kobe Bryant was the big name, so of course most of the media is going to be about him and his daughter. What I liked is that the media, everyone around the media has started pushing that there were other people in the helicopter too, and they need to be recognized. And so for one of the big basketball games, I can't remember if it's the next Lakers game or it's just one of the big games. Yeah, they're not. They're doing Team Kobe versus Team Gianna. Yeah, you know, just for their names, and then everyone's wearing, and then the whole team's gonna either be wearing Kobe's number or his daughter's number. Yeah. And then on the jerseys, they got patches for everyone that was in the helicopter. So I like that everyone's been talking about also the other families and how much of a tragedy about that. So I like that everyone's also adding on to not just the superstar. You know what I mean? No, yeah. So I'm glad they're getting recognized.
So what has been irking me about it is that. So I've already kind of made it known here that I'm not really big on celebrities. There's like a very handful that I actually get sad if they pass away and so on and so forth. But I can sympathize with people who were really distraught by hearing that he passed away. Mm-hmm. Now, without going into all the controversies, because I'm not going to make this about what I thought about the man myself. That's an entirely different subject. What I'm going to say is that I feel it's kind of terrible that people are coming back and saying, well, what about, this soldier who passed away recently? Or, what about this officer or this firefighter? Or, this and that. Pulling up people who are also very notable and have done very courageous or tremendous things, and that no one's celebrating their life. So, I really hate that people are doing that. And let me explain why. So, this is something where it is very common in today's day and age, where we are now guilting people for feeling bad about what they feel bad about. So how I see it is that you got a guy, and even if he's like an adult, whatever, that part shouldn't matter. You have someone who's really just like bummed out and sad that their hero, who they idolize in Kobe Bryant, has passed away. Yeah. And then that person is not being told, oh wait, so you'll mourn their death, but not this person's death or this person's death, or this guy who died in Afghanistan, you're not mourning their death. And I think that's a bit horseshit, because at that point you're putting words in a person's mouth. Yeah. Of course they would give a shit about that. Yeah. But to corner someone and attack them and say you cannot have grief over this, I think it's a bit far. Now, in no way am I trying to say that like it should all be about Kobe or it should all be about, his family. I mean, what I'm mostly just saying is that if you are an individual who is sad about that and is sad that he passed away, be sad. You're allowed to have those feelings, and nobody should tell you differently what you can or cannot grieve about. But if you are someone who feels that they need to make the argument as to why someone you knew in Afghanistan, or even if you didn't know but knew of, or even just saw in an article, and it doesn't have to even be a soldier, just anyone in general, and they're not being celebrated, I understand if you're upset that they passed away, and to not tell you, you can't grieve either. You cannot tell someone else that they have to share your grief. That is the whole point with grieving. That is the whole point of sadness, is that it affects every one of us differently. And for someone to go say, hey, you cannot be sad about this, I think really kind of makes you a shitty person. Mm-hmm. And I even have friends that have posted, like, everybody's sad about Kobe, but no one's sad about this person's death. Like, that's not true. Like, obviously there is someone sad. You're just upset that I'm not sad about that person's death. And you want what I'm going through to fit your narrative, to fit your point that you're trying to make here. And really, the point you're trying to make is kind of shitty. Fact of the matter is your argument is that we should be sad all the time about everyone dying all the time. And what's sad about this world is that there's always somebody who's passing away, and it's a terrible thing. But to start saying what people can and can't be sad about, you're putting it on a competition to where people don't feel comfortable being sad about something, and instead you're making a toxic thing where people are getting mad. And really, you just got to cut the shit out. Let people be sad about it. Let them grieve in their own way. Let them move on. It doesn't matter if they were close to the guy or not. You cannot tell them what they can or cannot be upset about. And that's just the shit that needs to be said, and I think we need to remember that when going forward.
Yeah.
That being said, I also love the Super Bowl, but for the opposite reasons. So, if you listen to the show for a while, you know I do not give a shit about football at all. Now, I've heard some people say, like, if you can't appreciate the poetry and the competitive nature of football, then you're really ignorant. And the thing is, I can appreciate a competitive nature. I just never given a shit about football.
Well, that's
literally just what
fans.
it is. Yeah.
And the fans.
But
you haven't had the best interactions with football fans.
No, I haven't. Because all of them tend to be upset because I don't share their same passion with fucking football. I don't get... That's like...
Don't go Broncos.
Because if that's the case, then I should be allowed to get that obnoxious and pissed off when people don't share my obsession with horror. Like, you talking about Sam Raimi? You don't love Sam Raimi? What's wrong with you? This is Sam Raimi country! Like, that, like...
Oh my god, no, please. Next time some dude, like, gets in your face about sports or whatever, just go, well, do you know who Sam Raimi is? And if he goes, who the fuck's Sam Raimi? You're like, you don't know who Sam Raimi is? Oh my god, what's wrong with you? And then at the very end go, and do you see how that feels?
Yeah. Now we've grown. But, like, now it's funny because now everybody's really pissed off at the Super Bowl.
No, they're happy.
Some people are really happy that the Patriots aren't in it. Some people are really mad that the Patriots aren't in it. Some people are really happy that the Kansas City Chiefs are in it. Some people are happy that they're not, and so on and so forth. And it's probably
the Chiefs are in it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But point being is that there's, like, so much frustration and anger amongst all football fans right now. And all I can say is that doesn't affect me. Never cared for since day one. So, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, and you're going to hate that I say this, you're not supporting a team as you're more so supporting a logo. And that just really put me under the hot radar of liberal, snowflake bullshit kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's our show, and I can tell you what I love and hate, and I love the fact that everybody's frustrated about football, and I can't share that with anyone. I mean, if you love football, then fuck whatever I say. But.
I mean, not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna go on the fact that there hasn't been a whole lot. I haven't seen a whole lot about the Super Bowl since the Patriots.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
what I'm happy
Like, no
about.
one's talking about it. Everybody's just like, it's a Super Bowl.
Well, and then just to do a quick little step back, just with the whole Kobe Bryant thing in the whole morning, because one thing, the celebrity talk that hit me, what you said, we normally don't care about celebrity deaths and whatnot. It's when I was talking to Ricky about the whole Kobe thing, and he said how he was beat up because Kobe Bryant was his hero.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I feel it, because that's how I felt when Stan Lee died.
Right.
I never knew the guy personally, never met him.
Same.
But when I heard he died, I was beat up because he was a hero to me because he created the superheroes.
Oh, absolutely.
So when that actually happened, I kind of sat because I used to get really flustered when people would mourn celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
And then after, it was before Stan Lee's passing, but his passing was, how it really hit me of, understanding that. I'm like, oh, it's because they're your fucking hero. God, Cody, don't be such a dick.
Yeah.
They can mourn their heroes. Mourn your heroes.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's facts of the matter is that people need to just not be idiots about it. It's
let people mourn.
There's always what's the age old saying? It's a wise man knows when to speak. A fool always has something to say.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Or a fool always talks, or something like that. Runs his lips. Bitches get stitches. Whatever.
Snitches get stitches.
Snitches and bitches get all the stitches.
Pretty much.
So, anyway.
Alright, so continuing on, we got some Korean horror movies to talk about.
Korean horror!
So, who went first? I think I went first.
I totally went first.
Yeah, you
last
did.
Time.
That's right. Cool. So, normally here on the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, we try to find movies that are a little lesser known and aren't as super popular and stuff like that, because that's what we want to do. We want to give the underdogs more of a light. But the thing that I loved about South Korean horror and everything is that almost all their movies are really well known and super hyped up because they're just so quality. Almost all their films are quality. So I was really excited about this mostly because we had so many options of great movies to pick.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I want to pick one that it just always seemed interesting to me, and I could never find a chance to watch this movie or have a reason to besides, just watch it to watch it like we should anyways.
Yeah.
But, so I decided to do my review on the movie The Wailing.
The Wailing, it's tearing me apart!
So The Wailing came out in 2016. The synopsis is, soon after a stranger arrives in a little village, a mysterious sickness starts spreading. A policeman drawn into the incident is forced to solve the mystery in order to save his daughter. Yeah, pretty much. There wasn't a whole lot of sickness, quote unquote. Anyway, it was directed by Hong Jin-na. It was written by, I hope I said that right. It was written by Hong Jin-na, and it stars Jun Kunimura, Jung Min Hwang, and Do Won Kwok. Yeah. Cool. So, this movie, it's really good paced. It is a long one, though. I will say a little over 2.5 hours. So, it was kind of...
It's so long.
I know, it's funny because, I usually end up picking super short movies, and so it's always weird for me when I end up picking longer ones. But, so... so how it starts off, the beginning, it's really funny. So what Korean horror does really good is it knows how to blend, if you listen to the first episode, you have learned that Korean horror does a really good job of blending genres, especially comedy and horror. That's the main two, or the main three that they do is comedy, thriller, and horror. All three of those, they usually mash them together, and they do it so well that, for horror, especially for horror movies, that it's really great. So the beginning is really funny, but it's subtly funny because it's just everybody's attitude. So it starts off with the main guy Jong-gu. He's our police officer and our protagonist of the movie, and it just starts off with him learning that they're about a death that happened in the town. And I just find it really funny that he's just super casual about it. Someone's dead. And
what else is new?
Yeah, it's the ginseng farmer's wife. Is that he just kept saying that because he has this exact same conversation 3 times, and so his wife asked him what's going on? And he's like, ginseng farmer's wife is dead. She's like, is that why you're up? He's like, yeah, I gotta go check it out. And then he walks outside, sees his stepmom. She's like, why are you up so early? And he goes, ginseng farmer's wife is dead. Yep. And she's like, well, you better go eat. He's like, no, I gotta go to work. And she pushes him to go eat. And it's just really funny because it's super casual in the small town. She's dead.
Yeah.
So it's just, I thought that was pretty funny. And so when he gets
the opposite of living, so you get it.
Pretty much. So when he gets there, he notices. Yeah, delete this comment because they answer this question that I had later on in the movie.
Now we know.
I know. I felt like
you could have just.
I was just terrible.
You could have just skipped it entirely.
I know, and not say anything, but I'm dramatic about it.
To your script.
I had to. Okay.
During the recording.
Well, yeah. Do it live. But yeah, so he. And so also with Creed. That was such.
Before you show that you were really insane.
Yeah, but just before. But so also with Korean horror movies, doing the research before I watched this movie almost kind of ruined it for me because in the research that you guys learned from Monday's episode is that Korean horror does a really good job at keeping you focused on the protagonist and it's telling you the story outside of him.
Yeah.
So it's telling you what's actually going on in the movie on all around the outsides and the small details.
Yeah.
But the protagonists and the actors are they're so... You just get so enveloped in them, you don't pay attention to the rest of the movie. So I was starting to make small little notes throughout the movie, like the berries that he focuses on are super important.
Yeah.
That bitch in the background is looking at him weird, and just I started doing that, and I had to stop myself because I almost ruined the entire movie for me.
Yeah.
Because I was starting to catch on to what the twist was going to be, and I had to stop it. So I was just like, okay. But anyway, so after I stopped that, I just focused on the protagonist, on Jong-gu, and realized why the comedy in this movie plays so well. Is because he's a clumsy cop. he falls a lot,
Oh.
and he's late every day, and he's always like, and the thing is, like, he has legitimate reasons, but everyone treats him like a piece of shit throughout the entire movie. They're always just like, you're scum, and like shit like that. But they still make do your job, and he does, and he's a great detective throughout the whole movie. Yeah. He's the only person in this movie that was like trying to like figure shit out. But anyway, so he goes to the farmer. When he gets there, he sees the berries, and then when they walk in, it's just really weird. So like the murderer built this giant bird nest made out of trash and barbed wire, and that's where he killed the ginseng farmer. Yeah. Because you end up finding out there's another guy, and he kills the farmer and the wife, and he somehow was talked to the stranger. Okay. And so then it pans out once you see all that stuff, and you just see this hunter, and he's all drunk, and he's in the woods, and he's just like sees a dead deer, and he tries to pick it up and haul it, and he falls down the hill. It's really funny because he's singing, and he does that whole like really funny drunk fall in the movie, like and he like falls down this hill, but then he sees this devil. Okay. Like when he wakes up, just like face deep in this deer, just eating the deer that he saw that he was trying to lug back home. And in my head, I'm like, if I saw that, I don't care how messed up I was, if I woke up and saw some demon, like it's a guy with horns, like it was a man, he had horns and he was wearing a diaper and his eyes were all demonic and he had sharp nails and stuff. If I saw that when I first came out, like woke up, I'd book it. Like, but he doesn't. He just kind of sits there and like watches, and I know it's like, well, you know, no. But anyway, I just thought, and then this is one of my first con was his eyes. The CG red eyes were really dodgy at this part, and it's just this one point. Like the rest of the movie, when you see him, it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, and so, after that, like it shows Jong-gu, and he's actually telling the story of this hunter seeing the demon. Yeah, so this movie does some really confusing parts. Okay. Where you see this demon, but then it's just someone telling the story of that incident, but it also blends into the scene that just happened. It's it's really weird because it does it twice to you throughout this movie, where it looks like it's the exact same scene you're watching, right, and some crazy shit happens, and then it's just someone telling a story of what you just saw, like they're finishing a story. So that happens here, yeah. So it happens here, and you're just like, what the fuck? And so that's when they start talking about it's the Japanese man. I think he's the one killing everyone, and the police chief was just like, you ignorant slut. Like, shut up. Like Jane. Yeah, basically like what he called Jong-gu an ignorant slut for saying like, people say it might be the Japanese man's fault, and they're like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to point fingers, but I'm just saying. Just saying. Might be the Japanese guy. Yeah. And so then like skips forward to like when shit really starts getting weird for Jong-gu. So Jong-gu, he's at work, and they're at the police station, and you just see, and it's really funny because he's just chatting with the other police officer. Yeah. And then he just looks down, and he just starts screaming out of nowhere. He's like, and he like dives under the table, and you don't know why. And the other dude's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And he looks out the window, and you just see this natty-haired, naked Korean lady just standing at the door, and they both freak the fuck out and just hide under the tables, and they're just freaking. I'm like, aren't you guys cops? Like,
I mean, to an extent, we're cops. Yeah. To an extent.
And so she disappears, and like Jong-gu's like, what the fuck is going on? And so
what if that was like the part of their like training is like, if you ever. So we're going to do a training, and they just showed him, like, videos of The Grudge, and, like, The Ring, and whatnot.
Hide. If you ever see a half-naked lady with her hair over her eyes, hide. Yeah. Run.
Like, our bullets don't do anything. They're made of magic. We just got, if you don't look at them, then they can't hurt you.
Don't do it. No eye contact. Okay?
Like, don't do it. It works in every situation.
Hide under it's like a T-Rex. If you don't move, they can't see you.
Ooh, I'm gonna get you. I can't see you.
Oh, where'd you go?
You can't hurt me.
Oh, no.
I'm a goblin. I can't see you, ghost. Your power's gone now.
God, I wish that's how everything worked.
Boss, hey, I need you to come in today. Oh, I can't see you. Oh, I can't see the work. Oh, I can't do it now. Oh, too bad, boss. Can't work.
No, can't do it. Oh, well, man. Oh, like I'm home! It's like, God, that'd be so great. And, so, I lost my spot after all that. And, oh, yeah, so...
I'm gonna have to do that with my boss.
I can't see you. You can't tell me what to do.
My boss is actually really cool, but she puts up with a lot more of my shit than she really should. I'm purposely obnoxious just to see how far I can take it sometimes.
Soon as she's just gonna freak the fuck out and go, "Oh my God, you're fired!" You're like, "What happened?"
It says, "Oh, I can't fire me. I can't see
me. You can't fire me.
I can't fire me. I can't see you. Can't see the door, so I can't walk out.
I can't see you. You can't see me." So back to the Wailing.
Sorry.
Anyway, so back to the Wailing. So after their whole entire night freak out, then it flash forwards to the next night. And Ju-won is going to this house that was just set on fire.
Right.
And so he sees and then he sees one victim who's not dead. She's freaking the fuck out and like running around everywhere. And then she sees Jung-gu and just fucking beelines it towards him and just tries to beat the fuck out of him. Like, it's really great.
So, like,
he's the only one.
So the ghost sees him?
The girl.
I mean, the ghost is going at him.
There is no ghost.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm confused.
So he gets to the burned house. That's the next
house.
scene. He's going to the next scene, crime scene.
Got it.
Which happens to be a burned house.
Burnt house.
So there's a lady who survived the fire.
Lady survived the fire.
Outside.
Right outside.
She turns around and sees him.
Okay.
And just beats the fuck out of him.
Okay, got it.
And only him. She doesn't attack any other cop. She doesn't attack any of the other people. She only attacks him.
And they just let it happen?
Well, no, they try and stop her.
Okay.
And then when Jung-gong is like backing up, one of the bodies that they thought were dead grabs him and then just starts it tackles him, and then she gets away and starts trying to beat the fuck out of him along with this supposed dead body.
Yeah.
And they're only attacking Jung-gong. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so then it's starting to piece together what his part is in all of these crazy things.
Right.
Is because you start noticing everything's only at him.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and it's also because, and this is why I think it's really kind of cool. So, listening to Small Town Murder, you hear about all these crazy small town cops not dealing with these murders and not knowing how to deal with these murders. Like, I listen to Small Town Murder, it's a podcast, it's great, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, I've been listening to it here and there.
Yeah, it's good. So they talk about bumbling police forces, about small town cops who have no fucking idea what to do with these murders.
Yeah.
So watching it happen in a movie is the greatest thing ever, because they're all the cops are freaking out too, because this was a horrible murder.
I mean, you gotta give it a pro for at least being realistic.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these small town, because they're like, they even say, we don't have the resources to deal with all this stuff, and all the murderers, you see have these boils all over them, and so Jung-gong, this is when he starts actually becoming a good detective. He's like, call a dermatologist because every single murderer has these boils. It's just like, call a dermatologist.
Quick, we need 50 cases of Stridex stat.
Yeah, basically.
You just see them all with little pads wiping them all down.
Mm-hmm. And so after he gets attacked, he recognizes the lady who was attacking him, that it's the naked lady he saw from the night before.
Yeah.
And so it's just cool. Like, they start piecing together everything about here. And then you find out she's snapped, killed everyone in her family, and set the fires. And then she hangs herself. And so you find out the story of like the possibility of why that happened. And it all comes back to the Japanese man.
Yeah.
And so he gets blamed, saying that he raped her. Like, everyone's spreading rumors, and it shows this scene of him about to rape her, and then all of a sudden it goes, it's someone telling that story to Jung-gong, and it's it splits to that scene, and then it fucking splits to the next scene where Jung-gong is telling the story of the previous scene of a guy telling him the story of the rape scene. Like, they do this a lot in this movie, so it kind of makes you feel like, is this all a story? Is it not a story? Like, is it a story and a story and a story? Right. And that's what I really like about this movie. And so after that part, that's when you find the theme of this movie, xenophobia, really takes a toll into it. And talking to Jonah, it made sense of why they use a Japanese man and why everyone's just quick to blame this Japanese man, because in Korean history,
Yeah.
the Japanese were very violent to Korea during World War II, and like
True.
had this whole entire takeover of them. So Koreans, especially, like, they don't like the Japanese. So it just
Shout
made
out our
sense.
video producer, Jonah.
Jonah. He went into more detail about it. We don't have the time to go into more detail. About it.
We
Anyways,
definitely don't have any
yeah.
recording. You're
So-
going to have to take it on word.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like kind of speed through this. Good. Okay, so just gonna fast forward through some of these things. So I'm gonna stop there with talking about the movie of like scenes and stuff that happens, just because after that it spoils everything else. Like everything else, like it just becomes this giant roller coaster.
Right.
And so pros. This of why like I'm stopping here because this is where all the movie ties in. Like again, this is where the roller coaster happens and everything ties in. Okay, so definitely go see this movie because it really mind fucks you, especially at this point. Because after this, when you see this story within a story within a story, Jung-ong like really gets gung ho about becoming a detective, and it's really cool seeing him because he's trying to save his daughter because his daughter ends up having the boils, and she has an attitude shift throughout the whole entire movie, and like he knows there's something wrong with her, and so it's cool seeing him do everything he can to like save his daughter and actually be good at his job for once. And that's what Korean horror movies do really well, is they make you root for these these goofballs, and because like Jong-woo is a goofball. He's terrible at his job, and then he starts getting really good at his job, and then they start throwing in other like small comedic things. Like there's this lightning strike irony happens in this movie, and it's so fucking great, and that's all I want to say about it.
Okay.
Because it's really funny. But then also this movie does really good with staying to not just Korean folklore and rituals, but also Japanese rituals. Because there's this big scene where there's a ritual fight where a shaman and another shaman are having this giant ritual fight. They're both doing their own rituals. One's doing a Korean one, one's doing a Japanese one. And it's really cool seeing the clashes, but also the similarities of these rituals happening. So, cons. My biggest con is just like at parts it does have kind of shoddy CGI, and I could definitely see where it can, like I said, it can get a little convoluted with like how you got lost when I was trying to tell you about that scene about it's a scene within a scene, and then another one is a scene within a scene within a scene, like kind of thing. That's my biggest thing, is that sometimes it gets a little too convoluted. And then the biggest thing about another thing about Korean horror was that it does really good at making you focus on one thing while telling the story from the side by telling you what's going on. But that's also one of its biggest flaws in this movie, is because I feel like at times it has too much going on to try and steer you away, but also draw you in. And so when the twist happens at the end, like, yeah, you could kind of see it, but then I feel like they tried to like, oh shit, we gave away too much, let's pull it back.
Yeah.
Because there is one part of the twist that it made no sense. But that's my biggest con. Otherwise, The Wailing is fantastic. I highly recommend it. If you have a Shudder account, it is free on Shudder. Otherwise, I think it was $3.99 to rent on Amazon.
It is $2.99 right now on Amazon Prime. It is also for free on Tubi if you have a Tubi account. Same price for Google Play and YouTube, and you can own it on iTunes for $4.99. It is also available for rent on Vudu for $2.99 for anybody that has a Vudu account.
Mm-hmm. All right, so some fun trivia facts.
Some
fucking fuck. So the exorcism scenes by the Japanese man stem from shamanism in Nepal. The Wailing is Jun Kunimura's first Korean film in his 35 years of acting.
I like how I said to I'm big on shamanism in Nepal.
I know, like, cool. No, really, I know a lot about Nepalese
I know
shamanism.
exclusively about shamanism stuff in Nepal. That's all I know about.
Okay, this is a big one. No animals were harmed for the making of this movie. The animal scenes were done after the consult with animal trainers and under observation. The film also had a staff for VFX. There's a lot of animal sacrifices in this movie.
I would assume so.
So I thought that was pretty big one to say. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man, can I throw out one?
Sure.
This is one of Ari Aster's favorite horror movies of the last 10 years. And if you know who Ari Aster
oh my God,
is,
that makes so much fucking
the
sense.
The creator of Hereditary and Midsommar.
I see it in Hereditary. Yep.
That's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah.
The Wailing is Jun Kunimuro's first Korean film in his 35-year acting career. That's nuts.
Yeah. The film mentioned directly and indirectly all the biblical sins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, last one I'm going to throw in for you. For his ceremony scene, actor Jung Min Hwang filmed for 15 minutes without break. It was one long take scene.
Dude, that scene is crazy.
Is it?
It's crazy.
Oh, man.
I was into it. I think if it's the scene they're talking about, that's the two ceremony scenes going at it, like the ceremony battle.
Yeah.
And dude, fuck, it's really good. The cinematography in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
The story is great. And it also has one of my favorite things in the world. If y'all are, all of our longtime listeners know, I love sad endings in horror movies.
Yeah.
Especially when it deals with the supernatural and everything. And it has one of those. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so heartbreaking, but it makes so much sense.
I mean, if you want, you can touch on it.
Nope.
All right.
I'm not even going to give a spoiler review because that's how much I respect this movie.
So watch
not
it,
really. It's just mostly I don't want to do a spoiler review because I just feel like you just need to see it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. All right. Well, great review.
Thank you.
This one I'm really excited to talk about as well.
I know you
and
are.
I've been excited because I've been waiting for it because I bought this movie. So to give perspective, when G4 TV was still a thing,
oh my god,
and Attack of the Show was a thing, they had this
that's
segment.
so old.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, that's where Olivia and Baumgartner start.
So,
Attack of the Show.
They had this segment called DVD Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they would talk about, and they would have this film critic come on, and they would talk about like really great movies to check out. But one of them he talked about was the movie that I'm doing, which I'm really excited about. Which also shout out to everyone who talked on her Twitter and convinced me to do it because I finally now felt really confident to do so. Is The Host, which came out in 2006. So I went and bought this movie as soon as I was able to when it came out, and I've owned it since then. I've seen this movie like probably 10 times now, if not more.
I know you showed everybody in our group this movie when we all started becoming friends in high school.
Yeah, because it's a great movie.
It's good. It got me into subtitles.
Thankfully on the DVD they also let you watch it dubbed too. Yeah. So that's pretty nice. Yeah. But anyways, The Host, in which I have to fix the synopsis because they fucked this shit up as well. I'm just gonna fix it and then I'm gonna tell you what it said. So, a monster emerges from Seoul's Han River and begins to attack the citizens around there. And at this point, it also captures and kidnaps a young girl. And this one victim's loving family does whatever possible they can to rescue her from its clutches. Now, the actual synopsis...
That was a good synopsis.
Thank you. I had to fix it for them because what they have on there...
It pays off watching the movie so many times.
I know, right? Yeah. Well... What they have written is, a monster emerges from Seoul's Han River and begins attacking people. One victim's loving family does what it can to rescue her from its clutches. And I'm like, it just like skipped the whole thing. Like, who's the her? If like I'm just checking out the synopsis for the first time, what the fuck, IMDb? It's like you go up here, you do really good, and then you just shit your pants and come right back down here.
I really like they pick and choose.
I really do.
Yeah, you know, not that many people are going to watch this. Only 91,000 people.
Fucking dicks. We're hoping to change those numbers.
Just take the synopsis from the back of the DVD. It's not hard.
Right?
The writers wrote it.
Jesus. So anyways, a monster, it's directed by Bong Joon-ho. I was about to go off it again.
Directed by a monster!
So this director you're going to recognize his name because we decided to go into Korean films this week. In the history behind it, because of this director's recent movie Parasite, directed by Bong Joon-ho and written by Bong Joon-ho and written also by Won Joo-ha, and stars Kang Ho-sung, Hee Bong-byun, and Hae Il Park. So I love this movie, and I'm going to jump into these reasons why now. So first and foremost, this was going to be originally a movie I did for when we talked about kaijus. but this technically does not go in the line of kaijus. That's a different talk all in itself. But what I love about it from the get-go is that it shows the monster's origin at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So, like, normally when we watch monster movies, especially when they introduce really cool monsters, and I know I use, like, Feast as a lot for a lot of examples, but I feel like it's a good example.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you did say you were going to stop talking about Feast.
True. You know what? I will talk about Lake Placid then. With Lake Placid, we're kind of just, like, hinted at how, like, the crocodile got big and how it came to be. It doesn't really show, well, this movie, what's so great about it, within that same comparison, it actually shows how this monster was created. You're introduced to this scene where it's these two guys working in this morgue, and one of them is telling the other guy, the boss is telling the employee to dump all this formaldehyde down the sink.
Yeah.
And so, like, they know, like, and then the employee is just like, but aren't we supposed to, like, actually, you know, give her this responsibility? Isn't that bad to do? And he's like, you know, the Han River is such a big river, and there's only such a little bit of formaldehyde, so let's think like the Han River, let's think big. It's kind of like the speech he gets them to, like, somebody's like, you better start putting it down there, like, if you don't dump it, I will fire you. Yeah. Kind of like deal. And so, like, shows a scene where, like, these, like, dozens upon dozens of, like, formaldehyde bottles have been emptied down the sink, and so, like, that's how we're introduced to it, and then it cuts to a scene where two fishermen are in the Han River, and they grab this little creature, and they're like, what the fuck is this? This thing has legs. I've never seen this type of fish before. Let it go. Right there. That is the monster. And it does it such a subtle way that I really enjoy it. Because it's like, it never has to be this big, huge thing to have a giant, scary monster. It can just be something as subtle as that to create a giant, intimidating force for the rest of the movie. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, like Godzilla.
Exactly.
He was just a lizard, got nuked, and he's like, you know what, fuck you. With the fire breath, how do you like it?
Anyways. So, also I want to point out, Kong Hu Song is a fantastic actor. I actually love him in a lot of things that he's been in. And he's just fantastic in this movie as well, playing the dad. So, what I also love about this is that we're introduced to Kong Hu Song's character, and his family that he has in this food stand that they work at and live at. And so this is where the movie starts to finally, like, pick up its pace and really set up the narrative for what we're in for the rest of the film. So we eventually see this creature that I already mentioned, and it's fully grown now. It's finally, like, gone through its metamorphosis and whatever. And it is now on the shore of the Sohan River and is attacking everyone. And what I love about that is before that moment, everybody, at first normally I would give it a con, but everybody's like just staring at the monster as it's still kind of just like in its metamorphosis type of phase, because it's hanging from the bridge that goes over the river. And so everybody's crowding around it and it's just like, what is that thing? Watches it go into the water, and then they start throwing food at it, and it starts eating the food. Yeah. And so what I love about that scene is because it's really accurate with how dumb people can be. Fucking with things in nature that you really shouldn't fuck with. And so normally I would have been like, oh god, why would you do that, you idiot? And then I realized, I was like, you know, if it was a big enough population, there would be a group of people regardless who would still go and try to feed it. I mean, there's people, considering the fact that there's people that will go and grab, like, snapping turtles out of the bottom of a river and get their face bent off. Oh my god, yeah, I know. I think it's reasonable enough to believe. Yeah.
Noodling. Even though I actually want to try noodling. I know it's stupid, but I'll do it anyway.
Isn't noodling doing it with your penis?
No, what?
I swear to God, isn't that what
Jesus Christ.
I swear to God, that's what it was.
No, it's when you put your arm down in the whole catfish hole and it swallows your whole arm like a noodle.
No.
And you...
Well, can you tell I've never lived in the South? But anyways.
Do it with your penis? What the fuck?
I like how you know how normally open I am? I like how I try to be polite with the word dick. You know, I'm just like, with your penis?
Your penis?
With your no-no area?
It's when you put your penis in the water and you wait for the little fishy, right? That's noodle.
You paint it like a word. Sorry. We're not the most intelligent podcast in the world. For sure.
So going on about people being idiots.
So, you're not going to see the movie at this point. I just want to shoot myself with the foot.
Don't worry, they're not trying to catch the fish by hanging dong in this movie.
It's just Kung Fu Song's character is just like,
Hey, you want this fishy?
just, why are we still doing this? Why are we still talking about this? I don't get it. Anyways, enough about dicks aside. So I just like the fact that it's accurate with human nature, okay? That's what I like. Now if we can try to be mature... what I also really love about this movie is that it really does kind of pose the question of like... because the whole hidden message under it is polluting the ocean, polluting the earth, that kind of stuff, and it's finally like when that pollution finally bites back at us and nature fights back.
Yeah.
That's this being like a mutated fish.
Yeah.
So it now is on the it's now on the bank of the river and it's attacking everybody. It's killing massive amount of people. And one thing I also really loved about it though is that it at one time not only does it introduce it as an actual dangerous force and of like being a real monster, being a real danger,
yes.
but it still continues with human nature of like there is like at least one person who's like, no, I got to do something. Those people are in danger.
Yeah.
And then you see Kung Ho Song's character team up with him to like try to do something to the monster, and so like they both are like carrying this sign, this interblock sign, and they use it to like try to hit and hurt the monster, and it's still not doing much damage.
Yeah.
What I love about this scene is that they're showing that this monster is a real danger. It's not gonna you can't just hit it to death.
Yeah.
There's an actual anatomy to it that you have to learn in order to kill this monster.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, that's cool, too. I like that it's showing that it's not just the military that can do something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like showing normal people, like, we're going to fuck this up, and then, of course, it didn't work out, but still.
Right.
That's cool. Like, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought the military part up, too, because that's also something I'm going to talk about here as well. So as the movie continues on, eventually... the daughter, Han So, pardon my American accent, by the way, because I know I'm kind of butchering it a little bit. She, is upset and she walks out of the food stand they work in because she saw her aunt lose an archery match. Yeah. And so she's just bummed out about it. Comes out, kicks a beer can across the way, and the beer can is just fizzing. So she goes to pick it up. As she goes to pick it up, her father then grabs her by the wrist, and is running because the monster is chasing everybody. Mm-hmm. Because at this point she didn't know that this happened because the monster came and appeared farther down the bank. Yeah. As they're running, he trips and falls, gets back up, grabs her by the wrist, and you see and I love this by the way because it's just great cinematography across the board within this movie. Pans over and we see it's not his daughter anymore, but the hand of a different girl. And so
yeah, that scene fucked me up.
And I love that scene too because I'm like, again, this is really true with what would happen. Keep it in mind, like it's a giant mutated fish monster. Like that part obviously is fake, but in a chaotic sense, a chaotic situation like that, if you lose track for 1 second of somebody that you're watching after, you will lose them immediately. And I just really liked that they kept it that honest because it really gave a really good, vulnerable kind of feeling at that moment. Because at that point, you see the monster grab her by its tail, and he takes her into the river, and at that point, we assume that she is then dead. Yeah. At that point, everybody's evacuated. They're all in this gym, the local gym, in this local school. And at this point, like you're also introduced to the director's ability to put really subtle nuances of dark comedy within really serious moments. So there's a scene where, like, they have murals of everybody who was killed by the monster, one being Hyun So. And so, the dad, the aunt, the grandpa, and the uncle are all there, like, blubbering over each other to a point where it gets really overly, like, comedic in a way. Yeah. Because they're, like, all rolling on the floor. They're just like, like, the grandpa, like, grabs the son and, like, what is it, an arm lock? Yeah. Like, and he starts, like, and you gotta kind of laugh at it because it's a little bit of a ridiculous scene. Like, it's really funny.
Yeah, but like, that's what they do it on purpose.
Yeah, like so I really appreciate that. And as it continues, they have finally somebody from the CDC or the local government come in, and he's in a yellow suit and he's walking all just kind of like, I'm a big official person, slips and falls right on his ass, and he gets right back and he's just like, your attention, please. And so like those little subtle nuances of dark comedy I really enjoyed throughout the entire movie. Because especially with how serious they make the tone later on.
Yeah.
So as the movie continues, the military is getting more involved.
Yeah.
They're quarantining people, and at this point, they're losing more and more faith that Hyun-soo, the daughter, is gone. Until the father gets a phone call, and he says that he hears her, that she's still alive, and the government and everybody else is kind of writing him off as crazy, but he's like, no, I know my own daughter's voice.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. And so then the majority of the movie at that point is that we see this broken family who, you have the failed college student, the slow athlete, and the slow shy athlete, and the burnout dad, and as they're all kind of like learning to be a family again, purely just to find Hyun-soo, you also see her trying to survive in herself and try to be staying alive the entire time. And so you see a lot of back and forth between them trying to find her and her just surviving in this little tiny part of the sewer.
Yeah.
And so you get really introduced. What happens great about this at this point is that we're really introduced to the dynamic relationships that all of them have, because it is definitely focused on the dad finding the daughter, but also like kind of how you're talking about how everything else is happening around them. It really focuses on that as well, with how the uncle is learning to find his pride again by finding his daughter, by finding his niece, and the aunt who's learning to be confident again and not be afraid to finally take the shot, because that is the literal metaphor that they touch on at the end of the movie here.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of really inspiring because it's all about like family. And so there's a point where they're exhausting their searches, that all their resources, and they're just tired from looking, and they all come back to the same food stand, and they're all just made instant noodles. And then this scene of Hyun-soo appears where they're all eating. Keep in mind, she's still gone at this point.
Yeah.
But they're feeding her like she's there.
Yeah.
And like, originally when I saw this scene, it really tripped me up, and I was like, but she's alive. Why is she eating with them? And then I realized, like, they're all acting like she is still there, that they believe she's still alive, that they're not giving up, that the spirit of the family is still there. And so, coming to the, getting closer to that kind of feeling is that it does this great emphasis on feeling of isolation as all the characters are going through, because not only do we see Hyun-soo in this cold part of the sewer, getting hungrier, trying to just take little raindrops just to, quench her thirst. You also see the dad, who his whole life was around her. That was his world.
Yeah. And
he's isolated as he's continually letting himself be, experimented on, because he got some of the blood of the monster on him. And so, like, he's willing to get, like, he even gets his head drilled into.
Yeah.
And come to find out that the military, the CDC, comes to say that there actually isn't a virus.
Huh.
They're saying that there is a virus due to the monster.
Yeah. And
the monster's blood. And so the dad finds out that there's no virus, and he's just like, well, then why am I here? And at that point, that's when they drill his head.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're just kind of, at that point, you're just like, holy shit. Because the reason that they say it's a virus is that they now start bringing in this weapon that the U.S. has made, which is a chemical agent that's kind of like a mixture between, like, I don't know if it was an actual, like, chemical they made or whether they made for the movie. That's the one thing I don't know about. But it's supposed to, but I kind of took it as, like, the mix between Agent Orange and mustard gas.
Yeah.
And so, as they're bringing this, like, little yellow banana-looking thing to the Han River to release the chemical and destroy all biological life within a certain amount of kilometer radius, so on and so forth. Eventually, the dad escapes. Eventually, the uncle gets his shit together and starts making Molotov cocktails. And in the, aunt...
That's getting your shit together. All right. I got some Molotov cocktails here that I'm making.
I mean, at some point,
shit together.
At some point. And then what happens is, and the aunt's and she's getting serious about this too. And I mean, not that they never were, but like this is getting to the final confrontation of the film. And so obviously they defeat the monster. So I can tell you what happens at the end without giving away the spoiler. Because the spoiler, as big as it is, it's also really small. It really kind of depends on how you take it. So I'm not going to really talk about that part, but I will talk about Hens. So the final confrontation between them and the monster is absolutely amazing because they finally confront it. They finally are able to find it. And, you know, the uncle starts off by just, like, wailing Molotov cocktails at the fucking beast and just lighting it on fire.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome, like, because it's just like, hell yeah, the family's coming together. And then you see, you know, the fucking dad coming in and just, like, doing whatever he can to fuck up the monster. And then at that same time, you know, here comes the aunts, and you see her join them, and then you don't see her fighting. You only see the uncle just, like, lighting him on fire. And then here comes the last bottle. He's about to throw it, and it slips out of his hand. So he's like, fuck. And why at this point it sucks is because he worked with a local homeless man to dump a ton of gasoline on the monster to light it on fire. And so that last Molotov was supposed to be the last one that lights the whole monster on fire and kills it permanently.
Yeah.
So instead, as he's about to give up, the aunt comes up with an arrow, because she's an archer.
Yeah.
And just like, without hesitating, shoots the monster right in the eye.
Nice.
Finally completing, lighting it on fire. And then at this point, it tries to run away and jump into the river to get
extinguish
quench
the water.
Yeah, to extinguish the fire.
Yeah.
And so the dad comes around out of the corner with a pipe and just like jams it into the monster's like mouth.
Nice.
And like just fucking really rams it into that dude. And I'm just like, hell fucking yeah! Like the family finally came together and destroyed this beast.
Nice.
Like, and it was fucking fantastic. And I know I feel like I kind of went through this whole movie as a whirlwind, but what's so great about it, and what's so great about this director, is that he's really good about really focusing on the emotions that his characters are going through. So the moment when they're sad and they're just depressed and they're ready to give up, you really feel that come through the screen. And that's what I love about this movie, is that the emotions that they're going through, you feel for them and you can relate to them. And you don't have to be in their situation to feel the pain that they're going through. And I love it about this movie.
Yeah.
The one con I'll give it is that the CG for the monster definitely is hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some scenes you're like, oh, that's sci-fi level.
Yeah. I gotta say, it hasn't held up the best in most regard. But if you can look past that, you're in for a great ride of a film.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you can look past the CG, there's a great movie in here. Like, the acting is just phenomenal and everything, so.
Absolutely. And it's solid all around. I mean, when we're talking about Korean horror, we're definitely talking about this movie. Because this is the one that, like, really just got my attention on Korean horror in general. And why I love it. And why I feel like this whole genre deserves more love. So, with that being said, you can watch The Host right now for free on Tubi. For rent, you can watch it to rent for $2.99 on Amazon Prime. This price is the same for Google Play, Vudu, and YouTube. You can own it on iTunes for $3.99, and it's also free with a Hulu subscription.
Nice.
So, it's everywhere, so you have no reason to not see it.
Yeah.
So, some fun, interesting trivia about the movie. As of March 2009, this is the highest grossing film to date in South Korea, selling a total of 13,019,740 tickets. This means that over 20% of the South Korean population watched the movie. Although, there were also some that went to see it several times. Co-writer and director Bong Joon-ho and the designer of the creature nicknamed it Steve Buscemi, based on the actor's persona and the way he acted in Fargo in 1996. So this one's a little bit longer, but this will be the last fact I throw out. The event described in the beginning of the film is based on an actual event. In February 2000, at a U.S. military facility located in the center of Seoul, a U.S. military civilian employed named Mr. McFarland was ordered to dispose of formaldehyde by dumping it into the sewer system that led to the Han River. Despite the objection of a South Korean subordinate, the government attempted to prosecute Mr. McFarland in court. But the U.S. military refused to hand over the custody of Mr. McFarland to the South Korean legal system. Later, a South Korean judge convicted Mr. McFarland in absentia. Not absentia. I'm forgetting it. I'm just having pronouncing it. I'll come back to it. Point being, the public was enraged. Basically, what was it? Where he forgets.
Absentia?
It's not absentia.
Dementia?
Dementia. That's not. Whatever. Point being is that the public was enraged at the government's inability to enforce the law on its own soil in 2005, nearly 5 years after the original incident. Mr. McFarland was finally found guilty in a court in his presence. However, he never served the prison sentence, and there have been no sightings of a mutant creature in the Han River yet. That part is obviously more joking.
This movie is included in Quentin Tarantino's top 20 favorite films released between 1992 and 2009. Also put on, what is this? The top 1001 movies you need to see before you die.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
With that,
edited by Steven Schneider.
With that being said, those are our Korean horror films that you need to watch and check out. You know where to get them, you know where to check them out, and if you do, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. And another great way to do that is by liking us and following us on Facebook. Search us up, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or our Twitter @officialPRHP.
Or on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
You can also check out our website, www.punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. We still have siren shirts available at www.punkrockhorrorstore.com. Also, with that, if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, please consider going over to our Patreon, patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast. Right now, we're doing a lot of cool mystery boxes. We have cartoons that are being thrown up about us. Check it out. It's really great content. You definitely don't want to miss out on it. That is for sure. Also, last thing we're going to talk about is that we are going to be doing more shows coming up here as it gets warmer this year.
Yeah.
So if you are in Colorado, if you are in Fort Collins, we are going to be doing shows. We're not going to do just strictly Fort Collins this time. We're going to be trying to get a little more around. So
get some down
stay tuned for that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Come check them out. Come hang out with us. Come watch a horror movie with us. Come be on a recording with us. It'll be a great time. It'll be a great night for everyone.
Yeah.
That being said, you can follow me on Instagram @TheOutDeadMatt. And ghouls, gals, creeps, immunes, as always, thank you again for hanging out with us and letting us talk about horror with you.
Bye.
Bye.